Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, salam. Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem to all our Muslim friends around the world. Welcome to MACFEST 2025, to another wonderful, delicious event, part of the Ramadan Food Festival, one of the 9 mini festivals within MACFEST. And this weekend we continue with the Iraqi cuisine. So yesterday we had two lovely ladies, part of the MACFEST team, presenting about the Iraqi cuisine, history, culture. And today we've got another wonderful speaker sitting in the USA. We're also saying hello from the UK, from France. And do let us know where you're watching us from. Just tell us in the chat. Hello, I'm in, I don't know, Scotland or France. Our host for today is Lulieta Halimi. You probably know her from our other events. She's part of the MACFEST team. She's absolutely amazing host. She's great with children, and she's got a very inquisitive mind. So be ready for great questions today. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A portal. Lulu has been working for the Islam channel before. She's an absolute pro within the media industry. And she's got a great experience in hosting and presenting amazing events like the one today. So over to you, Lulu.
Thank you so much, Kati, for your introduction. Yeah, as you said, now I'm part of the team, and probably many of you know me. Before I go and introduce the amazing event that we have today, I just want to take 1 minute and reflect a little bit on this holy month that we are going. It's going so quick. Basically, this is what I want to talk. Is the 23rd day today, and Ramadan has gone so quick. I really pray and I wish that everyone who is fasting this month has made the most of it. And I really say and pray Allah that I hope everyone, every prayer, every day that you have been fasting has been accepted from Allah. And for anyone who hasn't fasted yet, you still have some more time, 7 days to go. And I hope it's wonderful till the end of the month. Okay. Without losing time, I want to go and introduce a gorgeous lady that she will give us a wonderful, wonderful insights today. She is Nawal Nasrallah, and she's an award-winning scholar who has published several books on the history and the culture of Arab food, which is one of my favorite foods, and also has translated Arabic cookbooks into English. Her many works include Delights from the Garden of Eden, which is amazing, on Iraqi cuisine and its history. Also, we have Dates, a global history, a classic one. And we also have annotated translation of Annals of the Caliphs, Kitchens, Ibn Sayyār al-Warrāq's 10th century Baghdadi cookbooks. Okay, I will immediately say Assalamu alaikum to Nawal, and all of the time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for this introduction.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. So today we are going back to medieval times, to Baghdad when it was first built around the mid 7th century. And this is Baghdad as imagined when it was completely built. It actually started with the Abbasid Caliphates because they wanted to move the seat of caliphate from Damascus to a new place, so they chose Baghdad. It was built on a already inhabited place, teeming with people, and they made it into a round city. That's why it's called Al-Madina Al-Mudawwara, and later on started to be called Madinat al-Salam, and other names like al-Dunya, mother of all nations, or Surrat al-Bilad, navel of all nations. So it became so popular, you know, within the centuries, it really developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in this Baghdad, in the 10th century, slide 3, a cookbook was written. It's really an amazing book. It is called Kitāb al-abīkh, you know, like Kitāb, cookbook. It was written by one Ibn Sayyār al-Warrāq. We don't know who he was, but all we know from his nickname al-Warrāq that he was like a, you know, a scholar, a copyist who worked in the Warrāqin, Suq al-Warrāqin, the book market. It was a market where you go there to buy stationery, but not only that, you go there to meet people, you commission them, and you go to some of the writers used to you know, rent a whole library, and they would spend days reading books. So I think that al-Warrāq, he used this, he used a whole library in order to write this book. He did not write it for himself. He was commissioned by an affluent person. We don't know his name, but we know that he addressed him in his introduction. And he so proudly tells him that you asked me to write a cookbook that, you know, like that spares me the need for other books concerning the culinary matters, health matters, and here it is. And he gives a long list of chapters, 132 chapters. It's really a full-fledged cookbook covering all matters of food, of health, of table etiquettes, everything. He starts first of all with the preliminaries, like for example, the certain advice, guidelines for cooks. And then he goes to describe ingredients. Not only that, but he describes their properties. And then which best foods to eat before, when you are old, when you are young, and all kinds of pieces of advice that are needed so that you can enjoy your food salubriously. That is around 20 chapters at the beginning. That's why when this manuscript was discovered, it was labeled in libraries as a manuscript dealing with medicine. They didn't recognize it as a cookbook because they lived through the initial chapters, and they were all about dietetics, about medicine, about health, and so. But little did they know that this is a whole book dealing with all kinds of foods that were famous at the time. Not ordinary, not all of them were ordinary recipes. Most of them were taken from books, copies of books, either written by caliphs, by princes, or written for them. So they were all very well-known books at the time, and he took excerpts from them. He mentions about 20 manuscripts he relied on, but perhaps there are things, we know there are recipes he didn't really credit like he did with those. Not only that, he wanted the commissioner to be pleased with this book. So he said, the recipes were not enough. He supplemented it with other material. There are about 80 poems dealing with food, either recipes in verse or about describing ingredients, or about hunting, and all kinds of subjects that deal with food. In addition to this, there are anecdotes, stories about food, how certain food was invented, how it was consumed, any stories you find. And so it's really an entertaining book. It's not only a cookbook. cookbook, you know, that's not only a recipe book. It's not really like we see in ordinary books that they are practical guides for cooks. It is this, but in addition to this, there is so much material that is entertaining. In effect, it is like nowadays we have coffee cookbooks. You know, they are nice, they are impressive to look at. So you put them on the table to look at, perhaps to use, but also to enjoy looking at. It's really interesting about the poems is that he wanted to give you another way of expressing presenting the recipe. It's not only written words, do this, do that, use flour, use this, but he gives you a poem which describes the recipe in a more interesting way. Some of the critics compared this book to the coffee books that nowadays we have that are filled with photos. Nowadays, of course, we have photos to illustrate the recipes we have. In the 10th century, they resorted to poetry. In this poetic way, they presented the recipes in a more interesting, poetic way. In this respect, this is really a pioneering book. It was the first book that came down to us from the entire medieval world. And it was written from the, sorry, it was written in the mid-10th century. Unfortunately, we don't know anything about this guy, Ibn Sayyār al-Warrāq, but of course, he was not even mentioned anywhere in history books, in chronicles. Ibn Nadim, for example, in his, he wrote that hundreds of books, cookbooks were written before the 10th century. Nothing remained of those books. His book, he was not mentioned by Ibn Nadim, but it is his cookbook that survived. And we are fortunate that he quoted from, he copied from those cookbooks that are no longer available to us. And this, he did really a great service. And what he was trying to do was he was tried to, it was a compilation of what was available at the time. And he did really an excellent job. He didn't only deal with food. He dealt with, savory foods. He dealt with the sweets, all kinds of sweets. He dealt with the drinks, all kinds of drinks, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, foods that you drink for pleasure, foods, drinks that you have for pleasure, others that are regenerative in their properties. When you eat, of course, they used to eat with their hands, and of course they needed to wash their hands. So he gives you recipes. There are chapters on hand washing preparations, different kinds, aromatics, and like basic ones, and others to anoint your hands and aromatize them. Not only that, he also he gives us recipes on toothpicks, miswaks, the siwak. The best wood to use, etc. Of course, he didn't himself write these, invent these, but he copied. These are all copied from books that he found and he wanted to document. Having communal meals, of course, I'll elaborate on this, but having communal meals necessitated that you follow certain etiquette, because you are sitting with others. So there are 3 chapters about table manners, what to do and what not to do. And he ends his book with sleep. That's the end. The recommendation is to have a nap, to enjoy a nap after a meal. And he recommends a certain side on which you can lie so that in order to allow food to digest. So it's really a complete experience, culinary experience from beginning to the end. So that is Ibn Sayyār al-Warrāq. This is our book, and I base most of my information on his book in the following discussion.
which is amazing.
Yeah, I know. It is. I mean, you wouldn't expect
It's an art of everything from A to Z, what to do while you are eating, because I feel like he doesn't consider eating just like a necessity, that you are a human being and you need to eat, but it's also like when you eat, when you are happy, when you eat while you are happy, the food is better for your body, or when you eat with your family, it's even more healthy, or like things and details like that, or what you mentioned, the way how you need to wash your hands as well, because you will touch the food maybe with those hands, and if they are clean enough, or I don't know, it's like an art of things that he has made all together to make the food not just food, but more than that, like an art, life, experience, I would say, maybe.
Yeah, I said, well said. I mean, this is the art of dining, if you like. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So now we come back to Baghdad, the place where he wrote the book. Of course, we said that it was built in mid-7th century, but it rapidly grew into a really vibrant hub. And of course, it was the strategically situated. Baghdad was in the middle of it was at the crossroads between East and West, which facilitated the journeys, the merchants they did, westwards, eastwards. Trying to bring all those goods, luxurious goods, the spices and all these things to satisfy, the rich classes that were created by the abundance and by the luxury. I mean, by the luxurious life in the city and the abundance that is there. To begin with, of course, first of all, I mean, they didn't need to bring all these things from from abroad. They didn't need to import all things, but there were already the ingredients, they're already plentiful on the land of Mesopotamia. That was its name in ancient times. Agriculture was really at the heart of their economic life. And we have really, slide 4, please. And this is an agricultural scene. And this is, I mean, we have records based on based on things that were excavated from Mesopotamia, that they enjoyed plenty of fruits, vegetables, and it was agriculture. 5. It was agriculture, irrigated agriculture, that didn't really depend on rain, but depended on the water of the rivers. So with plenty of water and fertile land, they were able to cultivate all kinds of things, and this continued even when Baghdad was built during the medieval times. Being part of the Fertile Crescent, of course, in Mesopotamia, the major, the land was rich with growing wheat and barley. And with those grains, they made lots of bread. From ancient Mesopotamia, we learned that they made around 300 types of bread. When we come to medieval times, we have the same trend. Bread was important to them, and they made all kinds of breads. We have a chapter in Ibn Sayyār al-Warrāq's book where he mentions different kinds of wheat bread. Number 6.
Sorry, Nawal, before we go at number 6, there is some Arabic writings on the picture.
Yes.
If we can go, what is written there? Is it like an explanation of the picture, or is just like
Well, it is taken from the Maqamat al-Hariri. Maqamat al-Hariri
okay.
is a series of 40 they call them maqamat, like episodes, stories.
Oh.
Stories dealing with 2 characters. So those illustrated copies of Maqamat al-Hariri, sometimes they illustrate, like when they are in a village, they would, in the background, they would present a scene of a, for example, of a farmer irrigating his land. He's dealing with he's describing the city here. He's saying how he saw the villages and the buildings, and he's describing. This is the story, you know. That's telling the story when he got to this place. So it is not describing. It is not you know, directly related to this picture, but it is. It's like a background, you know, like a background scene for what he is describing for the city. Because each maqama, each you know, each story deals with an episode that happened in a certain city or a certain place. So they happen to come to this village, and he is describing it.
Okay, amazing.
Now we come to the breads they baked. In Kitāb al-abīkh, there is a recipe for making khubz al-mā, which is simply bread, water bread. I remember, I mean, in Iraq, we still have tannoor. This is the gadget here you see to the right is a tannoor. It's a domed clay oven that the villagers, even villagers, I mean, in villages, people can build them themselves. They are very easy to build. There are also commercial ones like you see on the right nowadays. In Iraq, we still have a bread, basic bread, tannoor bread that is called khubz al-may, which is it is called khubz al-may, water bread, because it's very basic, like flour, yeast, water, and salt, and that's it. You don't, not even oil, no fat, nothing. So this is khubz al-ma. So we have a recipe for khubz al-ma, and I was really thrilled to see the recipe from the 10th century, because it was also made from ancient times. So it is really a continuing a tradition of making simple breads based on what is growing on the land, you know, the wheat and the flour they make, they grind and make bread with it. 7. There's another oven. They bake other kinds of breads. It's called furn. The furn is a brick oven. It is domed. It is but it is made with bricks, and the opening is not on top, but it is from the front, and it is fed with fuel either from underneath or on the left side. This is a very ancient. The one on the left is a very ancient furn, going back, you know, to the I think 2nd millennium or so. Also found in Iraq. And the one to the right you see is from Al-Andalus, from southern Spain, when it was under the rule of Muslims in Medina al-Zahra. You see the similarities between the ovens, and they were very popular, like both of them, the tannoor and the furn, were very popular, used for baking purposes, and they were known all over the Muslim world. 9. Please. The other kind they did was khubz al-Warrāq, which is, Rocaq means thin. It's thin bread. You are all familiar, I'm sure, with lavash bread nowadays. This is called Armenian bread. But it was baked even from ancient times, and it is still baked today, and it was very popular during the time of this cookbook and throughout the medieval times. It was considered the epitome of you know, culture, the epitome of civilization, because it was not really easy to make. You have to make them so thin as paper. Could we go to number 21, please, to show you the lavash bread? Yes. Okay. This is another illustration from Maqamat al-Hariri. And here, this is a wedding feast where people sitting around the sufra, and you have all kinds of dishes with the bread folded and arranged all around it, because the bread is important. No meal is complete without bread. And the picture, the image to the left is the lavash, the ruqaq bread we bake nowadays. It's very thin, it is folded because they make them so big. I'm mentioning this because there is they tell an anecdote, you know, I read in medieval books an anecdote about the villager who was invited to a wedding in a city. And this is, of course, the moral of this. I mean, the aim of this story is to tell you the disparity, to point out the disparities between simple life in the village and the sophisticated life inside in cities. So the villager, of course, he is, you know, accustomed to his barley bread. So it's, you know, like coarse breads they make. So he said, we were sitting and waiting for the meal, and there were servers, and they started, you know, handing us some folded pieces of what looked like cloth. He said, I looked at it, I liked it, and as I was about to ask my friends to give me their pieces of cloth to make a shirt with it, they started tearing it to pieces and eating it. So this is the
Wow.
okay.
It's that thin. It was the bread, basically.
Yeah. So he thought it was a cloth because it was new to him. It's a sophisticated kind of bread.
Yeah.
Only, you know, made only with you know, for luxurious living. So can you go back to okay. So 8, yeah, 8. You have women. We still make this bread nowadays. I mean, you have the we'll read the questions later on. Here you have, you know, villagers making the lavash bread exactly the same way, using this domed metal. Nowadays we call saj. And yeah, and you have even the following one, please. And here we have here bakers making it exactly the same way. It's very popular. So as they say here, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, they have been making it from ancient times. So they just went on making it until modern time. There's no need to change it if it is good, right?
Absolutely. It's that's the original are the best, even if it's broken.
No, we fix it, but it is not broken.
Because it contains much more than just the bread, basically. The tradition, the culture,
yeah, you are right in this respect. Okay. So it was not only the following one, please. It was not only the grains that were in abundance, but also Iraq was known for its dates. It was the place where the date palm was cultivated, and it was growing wild. They cultivated it on this land, and as you can see, do I need to remove the questions, or do they affect the? Okay.
No, it's okay. You continue, and then if we have any question related with what Nawal is explaining now, let's say, for example, for the pictures that we are seeing on the screen, we can take it, no problem. And then the general questions, we will take it in the end.
Yeah, because it's obstructing the image. Okay, so this is on the right. You see a guy climbing the date palm. That is from the ancient Mesopotamian times. They had to climb the date palm. If you are familiar with the date, that's the only way to get to the top where the apple is. So that was how they pollinated the date. That was how they gathered the date. To the left, you see another farmer. He is collecting dates exactly the same manner. Once again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. With those dates, the following one, please. As we judge from, of course, we know the benefits of dates nowadays, but during the time of Kitāb al-Tabīkh, we see several recipes using dates. First of all, there are recipes for in order to sweeten the dish, they use date syrup instead of honey. It is much cheaper and it is tastier. Fresh dates were eaten, fresh. And in one of the recipes, he says the Caliph al-Ma'mun used to prefer his dates served with ice. So he liked it chilled. Sorry.
No worries. Sorry, Nawal, we just have one question from slide number 7. They're asking, is the wedding drawing from the al-Warrāq manuscript?
Oh, al-Warrāq is not illustrated.
Okay.
The illustrations we have in al-Warrāq are in the form of poems, no pictures. The illustrations I'm using here, they are mostly taken. This one, the wedding, is from one of the copies of Maqāmāt al-Harīri. You know, the one that deals with those 40 stories. Okay, so fresh dates. We have a recipe for making for turning into jam, which is you know, people still do this. And of course, the dates when they ripen, they are stored dried. And we have many recipes using it. They use it for filling pastries, for cooking with them and all that. So it had the same uses, has always had the same uses as we do nowadays. Now we come to the realm of meat. The following 12, please. Here you see the on the left you have the Mesopotamian, ancient Mesopotamian rams. They are being offered for sacrifice. And they were, I mean, the rams, but you see here, I mean, they are a particular breed that that develops along a huge chunk of lamb in the tail. So we call them fat tail sheep.
All of these images are crafted in stones?
Yes, yeah, crafted on stones, yeah.
It's amazing, also the art of crafting.
Yes, yeah. I mean, in medieval time, I mean, in ancient times, they wrote on clay tablets, and they also made all those images on stone. But during medieval times, of course, they had paper. Paper became available, and they wrote books. They wrote all those illustrated manuscripts on paper. On the right, you have this. You have a picture of this chunk of fat, the tail fat. It was in medieval times. It was valued a precious type of fat. They used to render the tail fat, chop it and render it, and use it in cooking. They liked its flavor. Up until recently, in Iraq, people still favored this. You know, this kind of fat. They use it with the grilled dishes, and you know, they chop it, use it with dolma, for example, to make it, you know, nice, moist and tasty. The following one, please. And of course, with the two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates, it's no wonder that they had a wealth of all kinds of fish. But I'm mentioning here in particular two types, the fish, the shabut and bunni. These were the two favored kinds. From ancient times, even shabut was called shibuta. I mean, even names they didn't change from ancient times. And today, of course, I mean, people favor shabut fish. It is a variety of the carp fish. It was cooked in many different ways. And of course, there was the chicken, the valued chicken, as we learn from al-Warrāq's book. It was Kaskari chicken from Kaskar, north of Basra, southern Iraq. They said that some of them were fattened until each one is as big as a lamb. So they had really, you know, they knew how to grow these this kind of poultry. So with chicken, with meat, with lamb, with the fish, all kinds of dishes where we have them made in al-Warrāq's book. But when you are dealing, the following one, please. But when we are dealing with a luxurious cuisine, the indigenous crops are not enough. We need the exotic element to add to those dishes. These merchants, they had to travel all the way to China, to India, either by sea, as you see here, which is another illustration from Maqamat al-Hariri, or they follow the Silk Road and bring spices. Some of them were not really that exotic. I mean, like black pepper, for instance. It's used in every single dish. The following one, please. But there are some spices that were not so common, such as the black cardamom, which is called qaqulla in the book. There is the green cardamom, with which we are familiar in the Middle East, hal. There is long pepper. This is different from the regular peppercorns. This is long pepper. They called it dar fulful. They used galangal. They imported ginger, all kinds of. They were not cheap, of course, but those affluent households who demanded them, they could afford them. The following one, please. And there were some really expensive ones, such as musk. Musk, as you see in the picture, is the source for this for musk is the musk deer. It's a kind of sack that grows behind the navel of the deer, male deers only, and as it grows larger, it irritates the deer, and it rubs its navel on rocks, as you see in the picture, and it falls. This sack falls. It is this sack to the right. You see, I mean, it's called farat al-misk because it looks like a like a mouse. It is this that they gather, and they extract this musk from it. But some hunt, I mean, they also used to hunt the deer to kill them in order to extract this sack. But it was not recommended because good musk, good quality musk, was only obtained from the fully ripened secretion inside the pod. It was preferable that those pods should be traded rather than the musk extracted in India or in Tibet or in China, because there was room for adulterating the musk. It was expensive and it was worth really adulterating it. But this one, if you get it as the whole pod, this is unadulterated, and you are sure you are getting good quality for your money. No cheating here.
For what do they use this, Nawal?
Oh, they use it. It is important. It's an aromatic substance. They use it for perfumes. They use it for bakhur, the aromatic, the aromatic smokes when they mix it with other ingredients, and they are also used in some of the delicate pastries. They add some flavor, they don't use much, but they add flavor to this, to their desserts by mixing it with rose water and camphor and others, depending on the weather. Musk was thought to be a hot ingredient, hot in properties, so it was. They used it for winter times. But they used the other one, please, and they used camphor because it is cold. They used camphor with in hot weather. Now you see a tiger here. This has, of course, a story that they tell about the camphor tree. those merchants, they go to faraway places that we don't know anything about they didn't know anything about at the time. So they told stories about how difficult it was for them to get those spices to justify the high price they are charging. So about camphor, they say the camphor tree is huge and it is guarded by tigers. There's only 1 month in the year that you can collect the camphor from the tree. That was when the tigers were in heat. After that, they would be sick. Both males and females would go to the seashore in order to cure themselves with the salt water. During that period, merchants would come. Camphor gatherers would come and gather the camphor. That's why I think they how that was. I mean, how they justify? I mean, the expensive prices they charge for these things. But it is an interesting story, nevertheless.
You know, Nawal, I don't really like spices, but now after this story, I would appreciate more. So I will really give a bigger value. It's amazing how they create a story related with food as well.
Yes, yeah. I mean, they are they are inventive in this way.
Yeah.
They are the ones who wrote the Arabian Nights.
Yeah, they will think even the tiger likes the spices so much. He's protecting he's protecting the spices.
Yes, yeah. They are so protective of the tree, but then they have to leave it. So, we
Yeah.
have similar stories also in the Sindbad, in the Arabian Nights, when merchants, cheat the bird of the of the valuable things they have, even from ancient times, from the Arabian, from it was when all those exotic things were exported from from Yemen and southern Arabia. They also told some fantastical stories, to tell to justify the high prices.
Yeah, that's amazing. Especially when you tell them to children, they create like it helps their imagination, but they also create a really strong bond with the culture of the country, and they create an identity as well. I
Yes,
would say.
yeah. I mean, stories are really essential, in telling things.
Yeah.
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 So now we have the ingredients. We have the basic ingredients, that's the vegetables. We have, the spices, the herbs, and the spices imported. So with all these, they cooked those all kinds of dishes as we see them in the book of al-Warrāq. Some people might think that al-Warrāq's book is a kind of exclusive book, that's only targets those who have the means to cook them. But I think al-Warrāq, it wasn't his intention. His intention is that his cookbook would be read by by all the people. I mean, by the majority, to be popular with the haves and have-nots. We know this from a story he tells at the beginning. In his own introduction, he tells us the story of the Sultan's chef. He says that the Sultan's chef, he has friends. He once was invited to play chess. And while they were playing chess, they told him to cook for them a stew called sikbaja, exactly the same way he cooks it for the Sultan. He agreed, and he said, "Call your cook." So they brought the boy, the cook, to him, and he asked him a question. He said, "Bring your pot, the pot you are using." He he brought the pot and he sniffed it. He said, "No, you need to clean it more. It's not clean." So the boy went and he came back. He said, "No, clean it clean it more." 3 times, 4 times, until he said, "Now it's clean. Now you go cook the sikbaja the way you usually cook it." So people were watching, his friends were watching. When is he going to put the secret ingredient into his sikbaja? So the boy cooked the sikbaja, and without any interference from the Sultan's chef, the sikbaja came, and it was the most aromatic, the most tasteful sikbaja they have ever had. So the moral of this, al-Warrāq says, the Sultan's chef said, do you think that the eggplant you use, the vegetable you use, how expensive they are affect the dish? No, he said, no, it is the cleanliness of the ingredients, the cleanliness of the dishes. If they are clean, you can cook delicious food with whatever vegetables or ingredients you have, expensive, whether expensive or cheap. So I think in this respect, al-Warrāq wanted his book to be enjoyed by all. He wanted the recipes to be tried, not to be intimidated by all those ingredients. If he mentions a certain amount of musk or something, you may use just a bit, or saffron. I mean, it depends. But the important thing is that you have to have cleanliness is very important.
Yeah. Nawal, do you think, sorry, do you think he really meant it, or he made it more to basically, as you mentioned, not to make people think that, listen, that because it's not important the ingredients that you are using, but more important is it like more like psychologically directed from him, or he really meant it?
I think he really meant it. I mean, if you read his whole book and his some of the comments and these, I mean, he was I get the impression that he was a jolly person, easygoing person, a people pleaser. So I think he really loved what he did, and he loved that his book would not be only kept on as a coffee table, but be used by all. His criteria, I mean, the criteria for a clean pot, I mean, we have to remember that they didn't have the stainless steel pots we have these days. They either use soapstone, pottery, and these are all porous. This is porous material. So when you cook greasy dishes or stews, the grease would get into the pores. And if you don't clean the pot well, it will, give really the
mix with the other food.
Yes, it will spoil the food you'll cook next in it. So his criteria is that you have to clean the pot very well, and he recommends the pure clay. You clean it and you wash it, and you are sure I mean you will be sure that the pot is clean if you put a stone in one nostril and you smell the pot in the other nostril. If they smell the same, then the pot is clean. So I mean, yeah. So that was his criteria.
He's a scientific as well, not just.
Yeah. I mean, they're amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
The next one, please. Okay. Now we have images also from manuscripts depicting busy food markets. So people had the option of not only cooking at home, but also from availing themselves to the services of the market cooks. Their market, I mean, they cooked everything in their market, the food markets, not only bread and the ingredients, but you buy, carry out food, or you can sit. Like you see in this, here you see this is a sketch of an image of a cook shop. Here you have the pots being cooked in front of the people, the passers-by. And here you have people being served. I mean, they are like patrons, restaurant patrons. I mean, they are being served by waiters, if you will.
Yeah.
But you can also buy bread. These are bread sell. This is a bakery. Here you have the tannoor, and here you have the guy who is, flattening the dough to make bread with it. And this is the seller of breads. Here you have the same thing also. So of course, I mean, we all, market food always had the reputation that it is not as good as food cooked at home. So that's why in medieval times they called it أكل العامة. this is commoners' food. The implication is that people who are rich, they would go, they would go and enjoy all those foods in their homes, luxurious foods. But no, that was not the case. We know that Caliph al-Ma'mun used to visit those, such a market incognito, so that he wouldn't be recognized, and he would eat the delicious dish of judaba, which was very famous at the time. So we learned that they made good kebab, they make, excellent judaba, and it was an excellent, this baklava-like dessert, jawzinaj, and they enjoyed it. People with limited means would rather prefer to go to and buy carry-out food, because it might turn out to be cheaper than cooking at home. First of all, they don't have the proper ingredients, the proper, perhaps proper kitchen, the running water, and all that. In addition to the cost of a fuel, so they'd rather go there. What enables them to offer good food, good quality food, was that there were the markets, food markets were inspected by al-Muhtasib. The Muhtasib is the food market. He would go to the such shops and inspect what they have been doing, and the cheaters, the swindlers would be punished. Okay, the following one, please. Okay. So here you have the cooks at work. Here you have to the right, you have the butchers. They are skinning the slaughtered animals. Here you have the choppers. And this is interesting, because you see here a man kneading dough for bread, but he is wearing a mask. The mask was a must when you are cooking, when you are preparing, kneading bread for, like when you are a hired cook, you need to wear a mask in order to protect the dough. That was mentioned in their books on market inspection. The kneader has to wear a mask in order to, just in case he sneezes or he coughs or something. They didn't
Or
want
maybe the beard.
Yeah, yeah. You see, that remind me. They also required that the kneader should shave the hair on his hand. So,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, there were certain regulations that they need to be aware of. Otherwise, they would be punished.
Wow. The connection with the food is 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay, the following one, please. This is, now we come to serving food. Hospitality, of course, is really an integral part of the Arab character. Hospitality based on generosity, based on respecting your guests, honoring them. And here you have two scenes also taken from Maqamat al-Hariri. These are the illustrations by al-Wasiti. He's the best. He's the best who did the illustrations at the time. There were many available. Here you see the one, even the host himself. This is the host. He is doing his job as a host, serving his guests with his own hands. This is true hospitality. The hospitality had rules that had to be respected. Here you have also guests that are generously being served by two maids, they're just, bringing the dishes one after the other. Now we come to the wedding, the 21. Yeah, here is also, there you have another scene where people are enjoying food. The other one. Here, another scene also from Maqamat, from another manuscript. Also people, it's not only food, but they are drinking, they are playing on oud, musical instruments. So this, it's really refreshing to see, illustrations from the medieval times of people really enjoying food. I mean, when you compare it, for example, with the European illustrations dealing with people having food, you would see in those illustrations of food, there is food on the table, but you rarely see people really eating food, like this one, for example, here, the number 20. Yes, this one, you see, they are really eating. I mean, they are handling the food and, I mean, there is a whole they're enjoying
Sharing it with each other. You try this, you try that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So as I said, comparing it with the medieval European miniature illustrations we have, they don't eat it because to them, of course, they were afraid of being accused of gluttony. Gluttony is one of the deadly sins. In Islam, we don't have this kind of thing. I mean, gluttony is truly strongly discouraged. I mean, it's not a good thing, but it's not a sin. It's not a sin to enjoy God's bounties. And they show it comfortably, which is really refreshing. And this is really a healthy attitude towards food. This is God's bounty. You are, entitled to enjoy it, and they are free to show it in their illustrations. Okay, so 23, please. This is, we come to another issue. You see all those people gathering. People did not eat by themselves like we do, some people do nowadays. They always like to have people to have a gathering of people. The more the merrier. And what was, of course, special at the time, it was that they used to share a large platter of a dish, and they all use communal dishes. When you eat with people using the same, dish, of course, there are certain rules, table manners you have to follow, certain etiquette. And al-Warrāq's book, we have chapters on 2 chapters on dealing with what to do and what not to do when you are eating with people. 24. This is an illustration which I like very much. It is a hand washing machine that was invented in the 12th century by an Iraqi engineer called al-Jazari, from the Jazeera, from Al Jazeera, part, and he, I mean, this shows how important it was for hands to be washed before and after the meal. Before the meal, of course, because you need to cleanse your hands. After the meal, washing your hands with ushnan. They use ushnan, they use soap. Washing your hands is not enough, but you have to use other, sorry, you have to use other preparations in order to anoint the hand, to perfume your hand, so that when you sit with people, you wouldn't smell, like of food, or your hand would still smell greasy of food. Also, the siwak, the toothpicks. They also need to use the toothpicks in order to remove the remaining particles between teeth, because it was not recommended that they should keep it. I mean, especially meat, it rots very quickly.
Yeah, wow.
The following one, please. After they didn't have, of course, dining tables like we have. They stay in the same place. So after they remove the sufra, the leftovers and all that, they have to, of course, scent the ambiance of the room with the scented smoke, which we call bukhur. And these are 2 types of the bukhur tools they use. Either they put it on the table, so that it, it produces this scented smoke, or like a bowl, they put bakhur inside, and they would just, walk around with it. The servers would walk around with it and aromatize the place with all this. We might think that this was, of course, this was done because the smell was pleasant, but they, coming from medieval times, they believed that whether it's a scent, whether it's a spice, whether it's a dish, they all have their rejuvenating aspects that we need to make use of. When we do not eat foods, we do not smell those because they are pleasant, but because also they contribute to our health. So, talking about scented, those scents, they believed that in addition to the aroma, they were believed to that this scent would clear one's head. I mean, people still think that if they smell this bakhur, it would clear their head, and it improves the mood. So it's what kind of therapeutic. I mean, like it was a kind of aromatherapy that they used. When it comes, this is, of course, this is really related to what they 26, please. This is really relevant, or the outcome of what they believed at the time of the humoral theory of Galen. The Amzaj, the Nadariyat al-Amzaj, the Galenic theory is based on, it's simple. It's an ancient theory from the 2nd century. The Arabs came to know of it when they translated their books during the time of the Abbasids. They had access to this theory. They adopted it, but they added so much to it in their books, and it was in this augmented form that it transmitted to Europe later on. But now we come to the theory. It is based on the principle that everything in nature is made of 4 elements. So it's the 4 elements, al-arkan al-arba'a, which is earth, sky, water, and fire. Each element has its own properties, khawas. For example, fire is hot and dry. Earth is cold and dry, etc. So the human body also, they thought in similar terms. The human body also has 4 humours, humoral fluids. I mean, everybody has those humoral fluids: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. So those 4 elements, each one has its own properties. For example, phlegm is cold and moist. Yellow bile is hot and dry, etc. Health is based on the fact that you are healthy if all those 4 humours in your body are balanced. In order to eat for health, you have to cater to you have to pay attention to the nature of your body. Some people by nature, they have their the humours, balanced, like 50-50. But some people, they could be hot-tempered, but this is their normal state. Some people cold-tempered, this is normal state. When you eat food, you have to understand your body and feed it with the food that nourishes it. And that was, of course, the task of the cook, of the household cook. They did not really, it wasn't enough to please the family members with the food, but also to keep them healthy and, and nourished. In times of illness, of course, those balance in the body, they, they lose their balance. Sometimes you have over hot properties, like when you are feverish. So what does the cook do? He would prepare, for example, this is a very simple example, basic, but it tells you how it works. For a feverish person, he would prepare like a gourd stew, qara', because this vegetable is is cold in properties. This way, you relieve the pain of the patient.
Yeah.
If you have a cough or if you have a cold, you have foods with hot properties. For example, you have, nowadays, of course, we have like lentil soup, lentil or other, other ingredients that are famous for their hot properties, and so on. 27. When they talked about digestion, they also talked about it as in terms of heat. It's like cooking. They talked about, in their books on dietetics, they talked about cooking in terms of heat. Digestion in the stomach is like cooking. You have to cook the foods you eat in your stomach. So, of course, I mean, what do you need in order to allow to facilitate the digestion? Have hot, I mean, foods or drinks with hot properties. It was the custom at the time to drink sweet drinks called sharab. Because they were sweet, the sweetness would facilitate the digestion of the food they ate. But I also think, I mean, they also ate desserts. So it might be really related to the Galenic theory, because desserts are made with sugar and honey. Sugar and honey are hot in properties. They offered desserts like zalabia, for example. I mean, this is zalabia. We still make zalabia exactly the same way. We have a recipe in al-Warrāq. I mean, if you read it, you can really follow it, because this is the way we make zalabia, the lattice of fritters, or qatayif. Qatayif were also very, very famous at the time. So perhaps it is good news for us. It's okay, eat dessert after the meal, no guilt feeling. And the following one, please. Yes. But of course, I mean, food doesn't cure serious illnesses. If you are ill, you need the advice of the doctor. And this is one of the illustrations taking from Kalila wa Dimna. It shows that the Hakim, the doctor, offering medicine, which is specially prepared by him, of course, mostly spices and all that, all those, depending upon how sick the king's daughter is. This is the king's daughter is sick, and he is medicating her with a special drink, not with with gourd soup or that.
Amazing.
Okay. The following one. So we are almost there. So
I'm enjoying. I swear, I'm enjoying.
okay. So I mean, the fact that that food had some regenerative effects, some healing effects on the human body. This gave rise to a host of books written by physicians, books on dietetics. These are scenes from books that have recipes, not food recipes, not culinary recipes, but recipes that are meant to handle certain illnesses. As I said, simple maladies. For example, the one on the left, this is for zukam and su'al. If you are coughing, if you have a cold, and there's a recipe for preparing it. There is another, the one to the right, also showing two cooks. They are not cooking soup, they are cooking sharab, which is those regenerative drinks that were taken after the meal. The 30, please. So this theory, Galenic theory, was so prevalent throughout the Arab world, and from the Arab world, it was transmitted to Europe. In Europe, there was, at the time, the 4th century and upwards until the 17th century, the Galenic theory was also governed the way they ate. This is an example of one of the books by Ibn Butlan. He's from Baghdad, a physician from Baghdad, Taqweem al-Sahha. It was translated into Latin. تكوين Latin. I forgot what it is. Okay. Yes, تكوين sanitatis. تكوين sanitatis, and it was such a book that was taught at schools of medicine in Europe, and so it was in this augmented version of Galen, that came from Europe, that was transmitted anew to Europe. So, but of course, the last one, the 31, this did not last for long. 1258, Baghdad was attacked by the Mongols. It was ransacked, and of course, a lot of people were killed. They said that the first day the river Tigris turned red with the blood. The second day it turned blue and black with the ink, because of the thousands of books they destroyed and they threw into the river. So perhaps this explains why all those books that were written and that Ibn Nadim talked about, they didn't exist. And it's a miracle that we have Ibn al-Warrāq, that we have it now and we can read it. We are really lucky to have it. This is a scene from the ransack of the siege of Baghdad. The following one. Yeah, this is another one. Also, it shows how they surrounded the besieged Baghdad and they entered it and destroyed it. But the last one. But life goes on. Baghdad slowly recovered. This is an illustration from Baghdad in the 15th century. So, it's life goes on. Cities like Baghdad do not die. So, thank you for listening.
You've been fabulous. How can you say that in Arabic?
Azim.
Azim.
Yeah, Azim.
Azim. Nawal and Antin Azim.
Shukran.
Well, I just speak a little bit Arabic, not a lot, but I know Mumtaza, but I didn't want to say Mumtaza because I know you.
More than Mumtaza. Above Mumtaza.
Mumtaza is like for children when they do something great, right?
No, it's a general word, but Azim is higher than Mumtaz.
Azim, okay.
Great.
It has been
great, Azim.
Great. Yeah. Fabulous. Amazing.
Fabulous, yeah. Rawa.
Arawa, you've been an absolute amazing, I would say, host of your own event, and I had so many questions to ask you while you were sharing all of the history, tradition, the culture, but I couldn't stop you because obviously this we will be finished at 9 p.m. In the UK time, but yeah, it's I would just say before I go to the comment, it has been amazing, and I really am fascinated how every culture has their own tradition, has their own way of building history, of building bonds, not only. Of course, I know, and I think that everyone agrees with me that this was not only food. This was much more than that. History. It was celebrating with each other, feeding each other, celebrating about the history. Also, when you mentioned about the way how they wash their hands, even the way how they build the it was like a chicken or like I don't know, the way how they were washing their hands was amazing.
Yes, yeah, it's a bird, it's a peacock, yeah.
It's a bird, yeah. Like everything, I know that all the details has their own importance. And what I liked the most was the colors. It was full of colors, which makes it even more interesting.
Yes.
Lots of people have been saying thank you. It has been amazing. I don't know. I don't think we had any questions. Um, some of them they are celebrating from Europe. Some of them from America. Yeah, I think we don't have any questions. They are just
That's good.
happy. Yeah, they're just happy and they really enjoyed the
Okay,
presentation.
I'm
Someone
glad.
is joined from Athene.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone who has been joining us and has seen this amazing, amazing event.
Lulu, there are two questions, one in the QA and one in the chat.
Okay,
Please check.
let me see.
There is one question. Do you do any similar events, or is there any similar event coming up anytime soon?
Not, I mean, not really. No, no. Yes, yeah. Oh, so because they want to attend.
Yes,
They
looks like
want
they're
they
very
want more, Nawal, more.
Yeah, well, you know, if I have something, I announce it either Facebook or on Instagram, so they can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. You can provide those. Can you provide this information on your website?
Certainly, if you announce on Facebook, you can tag MACFEST and it will automatically come up on MACFEST wall. We can also share on our wall the information and well, who knows, maybe we could invite you back for
Well,
another
yeah,
event.
well, that will be nice. That will be
Like
nice.
imagine a while an event for fashion. Oh my God, or like clothes. I would lose my mind. I love
There are
it.
so many subjects. This is a truly holistic way of living
Yeah.
that is centered around food. I mean, life is centered around food, isn't it? It's amazing. You know, you
Yeah.
could speak all
Thank you.
different
I'm glad. I'm glad.
subjects.
Thank
Yes.
you.
We have one more question
Yeah.
from Eda. She's asking, in your research on medieval Baghdad's gastronomy, how did the balance between cooking for pleasure and cooking for health manifest in everyday meals? Were there specific ingredients or techniques that symbolize this dual purpose?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah. Well, first of all, as I said, I mean, if you are cooking for someone, you know, you need to know. I mean, the cooks, they need to know the nature of the bodies of the people they are feeding. So they have to be, you have to be familiar with the people. So as I said, if they know that I mean, a certain person in the family is hot-tempered, they would, you know, serve him special foods that are with the spices not, known for their hot properties like black pepper, but for example, they would serve him with a cumin, with other herbs that will, that would cater to his to his health. Sometimes you go to places when you do not have control. I mean, you do not know when, for whom you are cooking, and for this they also had a solution. They offered special preparations after the meal. They call it juwarshnat, like stomach aches, something you take that facilitate the digestion to prevent any any harms by the food. There were pastes, there were sharab. Also, I mean, they were depending on what spices are used. You know that this is good for you and this is not, or this is not. So it depends, knowledge of your body and knowledge of the properties of the ingredients you are putting together. In this way, it is, like you play on these until you get to the desired balance of the properties, the desired balance of the of the humors.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got another question. Can you bio read a modern transcription of the Nook and in what languages? Of the
Excuse me,
book, sorry. And in what languages?
which book?
The book you're talking about.
Oh, Ibn Sayyār al-Warrāq is in Arabic. It is, it has been edited, and the book is available, I think, in several editions. But I translated it into English, and it is available, like from Amazon, from other venues. Annals of the Caliph's Kitchens. This is its translation, with introduction, with the glossary, with all, with all the, with whatever you need to understand the text. So it is originally Arabic, but I translated it into English, and the title is Annals of the Caliph's Kitchens, and it is now available in paperback, which was a very affordable price.
Now, Nawal, before I let you go, and everyone else as well, I want to ask you, what is your favorite dish?
From the book?
From the book or in general? From your own homeland?
From my homeland. Oh, okra stew. I like okra.
Okra stew, okay.
Okra stew with rice. Okra stew with rice. That's.
It has, so for me that I don't know what it's rice and meat or.
Yeah, it is okra stew. I mean, you know okra? The vegetable okra?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and so we cook it with lamb on the bone. Yeah, and tomato sauce with the garlic, whole garlics, we put them, we don't skin them.
Okay.
And we prepare, like simple rice, then a white rice. I mean, it's not good with any other kind of rice, just simple rice, so that you don't, you keep the genuine flavor of the stew, okra stew. And what's really fun about it is that when you eat it, those garlics, cloves of garlic that we use 5, 6 or something, they will become so soft. It will be like, the garlic would turn creamy inside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we just squeeze the garlic, and then the
flavor comes in.
The pulp the pulp will pop into our mouth. Oh, it's very nice.
Like peanuts.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that made me hungry. Definitely, and all the event in general was great, was amazing. Thank you so much, Nawal. You have been I forgot the word, azim, yeah? Yeah. You've been amazing, and thank you everyone who has joined today. I really enjoyed it, and as I said, if it was in my hand, this would have gone for for more hours. There is so much to learn when it comes to history. So much how it's amazing how people connect with each other through food, it makes it even more I don't know how to say, like it's an experience that makes everyone come together. It's like Allah has created everything to make people love more each other, connect to each other. As we are connecting now from different places around the world.
You get to know people better, when you sit around the table. I mean, you reminded me of the saying of one of the grandson of Prophet Muhammad. He said, sit at dinner tables and eat to your heart's, and sit at dinner tables as long as you can and converse to your heart's delight, for these are bonus times of your lives. That is, أطيلوا الجلوس إلى الموائد وأكثروا من الحديث فإنها أوقات لا تحسب من أعماركم. That is, when you sit at the table with friends and you enjoy it, these are times out of your life, these are really bonus times in your life. So you need to enjoy them as long as you can. And this is from the grandson of the, Al-Hassan bin Ali bin Abi Talib. And Islam really encourages this kind of thing, to enjoy the bounties of God.
Yeah, definitely. My dad is a doctor, and he always says, guys, when you sit around the table and you eat food, enjoy and be happy, because it's even more healthy than when you are sad or when you are alone. Try to have a beautiful view. If you are alone, try to watch something that you like, to make it even more to give you more pleasure when you eat your food.
It's like a therapeutic experience.
It is definitely, it is. Okay, thank you so much, Nawal. Thank you again, everyone who joined. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be the host cost of the today. You have on the screen the next event that it's on the 6th of April at 2 p.m. again. Please join. You can book your tickets at the Eventbrite. If you have any questions or anything related to any of our events, please you can email us, you can message us on our social media, and you can follow up all the upcoming events and share it with your friends. Join together. Maybe you eat something and you watch our and you can watch our events in the upcoming weekend. Okay, assalamu alaikum to our Iraqi weekend and to all of our friends that have joined today, and Ramadan Mubarak to anyone who is fasting, and assalamu alaikum. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much, ladies. Thank you, and thank you to everyone who joined today, despite the error on Eventbrite. We did reach out with the link to everybody who registered on Eventbrite, and we will always do that if there is any error in the future. So please do open your emails from MACFEST. And yes, as Lulu mentioned, I hope to see you at the beginning of April for the Environment Festival. It's the other one of the 9 mini festivals within MACFEST. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you from me.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nawal, that was absolutely amazing. What a riveting talk you've given us. I've learned so much. It has really enriched our festival. And it's been a true Iraqi weekend. My goodness, what a feast we've had.
Well,
And thank you so much to all the attendees from joining us everywhere. And as my team has said, we apologize. Some people received notice about cancellation, but we did try to reach most of you. And please join us for this another incredible event. This is with universities around the world talking about environment and sustainability. What is it like in their countries? So see you, inshallah, next Sunday.
inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh wa Ramadan Kareem.